Hey guys, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel and joining my YouTube family. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, please give me a like if you like this type of content, and please share my videos. So for the first project here, I'm going to show you how I made a little floral arrangement using this bushel basket that I had in my stash. Now, you can easily find this type of basket at thrift stores, or sometimes craft stores have them. But I found mine at the Target dollar spot some years ago. So I'm just going to reuse what I already have. You can do the same. You can make a lot of different DIYs and fall decor just using things that you already have in your home. So I took some floral foam and just cut it into pieces to make it fit into this bushel basket. And I found these really pretty maple leaf with pumpkins at the Dollar Tree. I really like the coloration on these leaves. They're super subtle and muted oranges, and I really love that tone. So I just went ahead and cut all the leaf pieces off of the stem just so that it's easier to arrange all of the floral stems down into the floral foam. This is a good tip when you are trying to make a floral arrangement, as opposed to trying to stick like the whole bush into the floral foam, because it gives you more control as far as placement and arranging your pieces to make it look more presentable, more like orderly, if you will. And I really found this DIY to be a very easy, maybe 5-10 minute project, like super easy. All you do is just take things that you have. You can take any type of container, cut down your stems, and then just arrange it in a way that you want it to look. And then I added some Spanish moss to the bottom just to cover up some of that foam. I didn't have too much of the Spanish moss on hand, but I had enough just to cover up the green foam. And this also adds like some nice texture and just sort of finishes up the look of this arrangement. So that was pretty much it for this super easy DIY, but it makes such a cute little display just for a shelf or a table, and I really love how it came out. So for the fall DIY number 2, I'm going to be using or reusing this tin can that I had from many years. I picked this up from the 99 when they were still in business. Now I removed the sticker label that was in the front. I believe it was like a picture of a truck or something like that. But I went ahead and removed that label. I just wanted to use it as a plain milk jug or tin bucket, if you will. And I'm just going to go ahead and use some floral pieces, some floral stems. These are all from Dollar Tree and Walmart. Now, these are things I had already in my stash. I've accumulated a lot of florals for fall, so I'm just reusing things year after year. And this was super easy to do. I didn't even have to use like floral foam inside. I just started to arrange all my pieces. That one center showcase piece right there with the pumpkin is what I started off with, and then sort of just added all of the other floral stems around it and just sort of built up the arrangement that way. And that just sort of helped to anchor the whole arrangement. And that was pretty much it. I just glued back down that raffia ribbon that was on the tin originally. And this DIY is complete. Couldn't have been any easier, and probably it was a lot quicker than the first one. This did not require any cutting whatsoever. And again, it's just a really super cute display for any fall vignette on a mantle or anything like that. For the next fall DIY, this is DIY number 3, I'm going to be reusing some pumpkins. Now, I've seen that terracotta pumpkins or terracotta looking pumpkins are sort of the rage right now, and I wanted to replicate that look. I had these pumpkins already on hand, so I just gave them a good wipe down just to make sure I got rid of all the dust and debris and started off with a clean slate. And as you can see here, this cream looking pumpkin is a little bit like slippery and slick. That one did take more coats of paint than the first orange one, because the orange one had more of a rougher texture. But anyways, these are the colors that I'm going to use. There was no rhyme or reason to how I created the custom color, but basically I just started to mix different paint colors that I thought would create the pretty terracotta look. I added some baking soda to my dish and then started to layer on the different paint colors. I believe, well, two of those paint colors are from Dollar Tree. It's that Prang brand, and they don't have any names on them, so I couldn't tell you what the colors were, but they're sort of like a beigey, peachy pink, not really pink, but a beigey pinkish color. And then I added some brown as well as some khaki by Decor Art, and then some red from Apple Barrel, just, you know, small dots here and there. And I also added, I believe I added, I'm trying to go off memory here. I used a little bit of the pumpkin color by Waverly, also in small spurts. And I believe I used territorial beige. I'm not too sure. But all the colors that I use is basically just out of guesswork. Like, I didn't really know what colors I would need to achieve the terracotta color. So I just grabbed some different paint colors that I had on hand and just started mixing everything until I got the color that I thought, you know, would replicate that look. So you can experiment with this step here, or you can buy a paint color that's already pre-made and pre-mixed, or, you know, to the exact color that you want to use for your project, which is probably going to make it a lot simpler. But I didn't want to go out and buy new paint, and, you know, I knew I could make the color myself just by mixing a bunch of different colors. So here I am just painting this pumpkin, and again, this pumpkin is more textured and rough, so it covered a lot easier, and I think it only took a couple coats of paint, if I'm not mistaken, because it did stick. The paint did stick well to it, and plus it's already an orange color, so I'm starting off with a darker color, so it was just able to cover a lot quicker than the cream one that I'm doing in the second pumpkin I'm doing. I did have to keep adding baking soda because the paint was on the thin, runny side, and I am using acrylic paints, with the exception of the pumpkin color by Waverly. That's the only chalk paint color, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me. I think the pumpkin color is the only chalk paint. The rest were acrylic paints, so they're a little bit thin and runny. So adding that baking soda definitely helps to thicken up that paint and helps it to adhere better, and allows for the paint to not use as much, you know, to not have to use as many coats. Also, it does add texture as well, which I think gives it the authentic look, which you will see in the end. But I was really loving the process as I was painting it and seeing the transformation. I was really happy about the transformation that it was giving, and it's just amazing how a little paint and some baking soda can totally transform the look of some styrofoam pumpkins. So if you like this type of look, I would highly recommend trying this for yourself, because the outcome is beautiful, and you'll see in the end how it looks. Like, it looks very realistic, and it's just awesome, because you don't have to spend a whole lot just to buy like the real terracotta pumpkins, which I'm sure cost an arm and a leg. So if we're trying to do things budget-friendly way and reusing things and repurposing items that we already have, without having to go out and spend a whole lot of money, this is definitely the way to go. So like I said, I did add about a couple coats, maybe 3, just here and there, just adding to different areas as needed. Not everything necessarily needed like to continually be covered. Sometimes the paint would run a little bit thinner on certain parts, and I would just go over those areas just to darken up the color. And then of course I had to speed up the drying process because I wanted to complete this project and be done with it so I can move on to the second pumpkin. So I used my handy dandy heat tool. So you can also use a blow dryer if you don't have a heat gun. So here's the second pumpkin. It's this cream colored pumpkin that I've had forever and ever. This is a lot more slick and slippery. It has a different shape than the first pumpkin. I was trying to find pumpkins in my stash that were different shapes and sizes so that it would add a little bit more interest and variation when I'm displaying them together. So this was perfect. And this one took more coats than the first one just because it is a lot more slippery and slick, and I did have to keep adding baking soda just to thicken up that paint and just to make it adhere a lot better. So this is pretty much the same steps I'm going to be doing and repeating like I did with the first one. So I'll just go ahead and let you watch the process until I move on to the next step. Now that the paint is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and add some baking soda, some more baking soda to the dry paint, just sprinkling it on and using my hands to rub it into the grooves and all over the textured areas just to highlight those points and just give it more of that authentic terracotta look. And I think this definitely sealed the deal. It definitely made the terracotta appearance more authentic and just looks really real, and I really love the appearance that it gives. And I just used a damp paper towel to sort of smooth out the areas where I had too much baking soda, and it just kept repeating and removing as needed and just making sure to spread it evenly, making sure to not get it too concentrated in one area. And that was just how easy and fun it was to make these terracotta looking pumpkins. Look how cute that is. And I did the same step with the second pumpkin once that was dry. Let me know if you think these turned out cute and if you would try these at home, because I tell you, they were super easy and they make such a big statement. And this is how the second terracotta pumpkin turned out. I love it. And I hope you guys like this one too. Moving right along to fall DIY number 4. I'm taking this Dollar Tree plastic pumpkin. I got this last year. And I just found it in my stash of decorations. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to do something different with this. I removed the string that came with the pumpkin. And I'm essentially going to DIY this to make it look like a Mercury glass. And I'm going to do that using mirror effects in the color silver, as well as Venetian bronze by Rust-Oleum. And I will go ahead and take this outside to spray paint them. So to achieve the Mercury glass look, I've done this in a past DIY video for Christmas. All I did was spray paint this base with Venetian bronze by Rust-Oleum first. Now I think I should have probably spray painted the mirror effects first, just for the lighter finish underneath, and then sprayed it with a darker color, the bronze color on top. I couldn't remember the sequence in which I did this the last time when I made some Mercury glass ornaments last Christmas. So I was just kind of guessing at this point. So I spray painted it with the Venetian bronze, and then while it was wet, I sprayed on the mirror effects silver silver finish. And then I also took a spray bottle, a little mister bottle with some vinegar, and while the paint was wet, I just spritzed on the vinegar in random places just to create like sort of like when what gives it like that wet look, like a condensation look. I'm not sure how to explain it, but when you spray the vinegar on top of the wet paint, the mirror effects paint, it gives it like this wet condensation look. And then after that, you can spray on more of the bronze paint on top of that and just keep playing with the colors until you achieve that Mercury glass look. So by, you know, spraying the dark color with the mirror effects and then the vinegar, just sort of repeating the steps over and over until you get that desired look. It's basically how I achieved the look of Mercury glass. Now, if I were to do it over again, I'd probably try doing the base color as the mirror effects so that the lighter color is at the bottom, and then I would probably spray the bronze on top of that, just in, you know, small spurts, and then use the vinegar. I think that might get give it more of a lighter look, I think. But again, I was just sort of trying to go off memory of how I did this, but I think it came out looking cute overall. I mean, this is how it looks after. I did screw on the top. It's a screw on top just so that it's easier for me to paint everything together, but just making sure to not close it tightly. But this is the overall look. The front side of this is like a face of a pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern, and the other side is just plain, so you can use this whichever side you want. I did forget to mention off camera, I added some rub and buff and the color antique gold in just different places just to add more dimension. So the final DIY, fall DIY of this video is this cute little bowl. It's a ceramic bowl with a Mickey Mouse, as you can tell. Now, I didn't care for the bright orange color. It's not the color that I'm going for in my home decor as far as fall. Not this like overly bright orange. So I figured, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and upcycle or DIY this bowl just using some cement spray paint. I wanted to give this a look of cement, and there's other ways of achieving a cement look, a cement finish, without buying like a cement spray paint. But this is a spray paint that I bought on clearance at Walmart like a few months ago. So this was a perfect opportunity to go ahead and experiment with it. Um, and since this bowl is very orange, it did take a good few coats to completely cover it. And it does have like that little Mickey figurine that's attached to it. So it was kind of hard to get in the nooks and crannies of it. But at the end of it all, it is going to be covered. I don't intend on having the Mickey part of it exposed or, you know, showing. I'm going to be using this as a planter. I can keep it and use it as a bowl for candies and whatnot, but I'm going to go ahead and use this for a planter. I thought that it looked cute with a cement finish, and to give it that fall vibe, I just went ahead and added some floral foam, hot glued it down into place just so that it helps to hold up all of my stems that I will be using for this display. So the fall stems that I will be using are all from the Dollar Tree. I picked up these neutral colored leaves as well as wheat. Now all I did was cut all of the leaf pieces off the stem just so that I can easily place them on to the floral foam and arrange it accordingly. And I also picked up two different colored wheat stems. They had three different colors, but I grabbed the one that looks reddish brown as well as the one that looks sort of like greenish. So I'm going to just go ahead and finish cutting all of the leaves and then all of the wheat pieces. And then I'm going to start arranging everything into the bowl. So I went ahead and hot glued the floral foam down so that they don't move around before I started adding all of my leaf stems. And the way I started arranging this was by starting off with the maple leaves. Since these were fuller and they take up a lot more space, I wanted to place these where they're going to give coverage and add fullness to this arrangement. And I made sure to add them to the outer parts of this arrangement just to cover up the floral foam and also to give it that fullness. And as you can see here, it already added a lot of fullness to this arrangement, which was perfect. Then I proceeded to add the wheat stems to the arrangement, and I'm just sort of placing them in areas to fill the spots, and then also just making sure to spread them around and on the outer parts as well as the inner parts, just giving it a balance and just making sure that every part of this arrangement had the wheat stems placed so that I had a full and symmetrical looking arrangement. Now, as you saw in the before picture, this does have a Mickey Mouse figurine attached to it. So from different angles, you are still able to see it, although, you know, it's not too visible. But I went ahead and came up with the idea of just adding this metal sign. It's also from Dollar Tree. I've had since like last year. And I decided to just go ahead and use this. I added a skewer to the back to use it as a means of propping this into the floral foam. And voila, this is how it came out. Now I can use it without the little sign. It looks just fine, but I figured it's a great way to camouflage that Mickey Mouse figurine. So this is a final look at all of the projects from this video. I really love how each of them came out, and this was just a simple way of creating some cozy vibes for my fall decor using items that I already had on hand. The only thing really that I had purchased this year was the cement spray paint, but everything else was something that I've already had, and I just went ahead and repurposed, and just gave them a makeover. Hope you guys like this video. Please follow me for more. Thanks for watching.